So, is using a ranged weapon in Monster Hunter like playing on easy mode? Yes! Alright, let me explain myself before y'all assault me down in the comments here. Saying what weapon is better than others is a really hefty task and doesn't really matter in the end because it's really just up to personal preference. Some may like the heavy-hitting greatswords over the incredible mobile light bow guns, but as long as the game developers aren't really biased to any specific weapon class, they all should generally do the same amount of damage over the long run, as long as you can play them properly. But as a man that has devoted himself to the scientific method, I did want to determine what weapon is better than the others. So I did a quick Google search to see what other people think. And everyone has a different idea, but it doesn't actually matter. But with that being said, being better doesn't mean it's actually easier to use. Countless factors go into whether or not a weapon is easy to use. The mobility, guarding capability, and the raw damage it has. And as you can clearly see, countless. Of course, the mobility is referring to how mobile you are with the weapon drawn, guarding relating to if you can block incoming attacks, and the damage is pretty self-explanatory. Most weapons will be good in two of these categories and lacking in the final field. Or you could be the sword and shield and just have a decent all three. When it comes to ranged weapons like the bow and light bowgun, they definitely benefit from higher mobility and really good damage, but they have no guarding capability, while the heavy bowgun has high damage and low mobility, but you could build it defensively if that's what you want, which is kind of necessary. Overall, I do think the light bowgun is the best out of all the ranged weapons, so I will be using this one for the majority of this argument. But I do already know what you are thinking by now. Why should I believe some random stranger on the internet? I literally picked this game up like a month or two ago and I just kinda wanted to make a video about it. I have not clocked in nearly enough hours with every weapon to definitively say anything about each one, so don't just take it from me, take it from someone who has even less hours.
Yes, you're fucking cheating from using fucking range weapon shit ass bitch. 300 damage with one shot to the head looking ass.
No, I didn't do 300 damage in a single shot, just a few mines, got it taken care of, and yeah.
300 damage in the head looking ass.
I know, like on the surface, it basically is all. You're not as close to the monster as going melee or anything else.
Yeah, it's kind of nice that you can shoot monsters that are flying, isn't it?
But here's the thing. Here's the thing, right? Like other than like if they're just hovering over the ground, anywhere further than a few meters, and you're not gonna be doing too much damage to even make it worth using your ammo then,
Okay,
right?
yeah, but you can do damage when you're not in the line of fire.
Like the critical range is relatively close to the monster. If you're not in that range, you're not going to be doing any damage. So you still have to dodge as if you were any other class. You just have a little bit more time to react, I guess, right?
Yeah, kind of helpful.
All right. Here's the even bigger question. Are you just salty that people playing range can actually progress through the game and you can't?
Yes, because range is OP. It's not my fault they overpowered range. It's
Yeah, but it's not that overpowered, right?
pretty
Right.
overpowered. Fine, you go try playing through with dual sabers.
I'm playing with the greatsword. I'm having a blast here.
Yeah, almost like you could knock them down and you could like block and shit.
I will use the dual swords. It's not that hard. I'm telling you right now, it's not that hard.
Consider you can only attack
Literally
them
just
like when they're
slashing.
down. It's kind of bad. Like, sure, they do damage, but like you can't do the damage if the monster's not knocked down.
Have you ever thought of maybe it's just not your weapon to use?
Yeah, but I've already gotten far enough into it to quit. I've gotten too far. I'm too far gone. Can't stop now.
It shows nightmare difficulty.
Yeah, I would love to use ranged weapons, but I'm too lazy to figure out all the ammos, so.
Oh, but I can do 300 damage in a single hit. Come on.
Yeah, you can.
But it's OP. Come on, anyone can learn it, right?
Yeah. All we do is we look at it and we go, "Oh, this this fucking ammo has 10 times damage of this other one. It's probably better."
I think one of the things that makes ranged a little bit better in Monster Hunter than other games like Terraria is that you aren't confined to like less armor, right?
That just sounds like they didn't balance it good enough.
Like you aren't being penalized for being ranged with having less armor. Like you could build the most tankiest armor you can and
Yes.
still be ranged. Like there's no punishment for that other than like I guess like you're probably not optimizing your
Yeah,
weapon the
so
best, but
I agree. Range is OP. Like, okay. For example, right? In front of me right now, I see an Anjanath and a Rathalos, and they're kind of touching each other, okay? Now, if I'm using dual swords, what do you want me to do? A, jump in on them, or B, run around until they stop. Right? The answer is B, run around until they stop. But if I was playing range, I could shoot them while they're fighting each other and not be in the line of fire. Ranged OP, go play dual sabers only. It's not worth it, but you should do it anyways.
Despite my friend's bias, I do think we only make about 2 good points. Equipable armor in the damage window. Now, I don't necessarily think that's the right word to explain it, but that's what I'm going with right now. Depending on what skills you want really determines your armor. While some skills and set bonuses benefit from specific weapon types, you can still build anything you really want. Looking back at it now, I know that Terraria is a really bad example, but you can kind of see where I'm going with. While in Terraria you can still use any armor and weapon combination, you are definitely missing out on a lot of bonuses if you're not building for the weapon type you are using. You can use a magic weapon while in armor meant for melee weapons, but you aren't going to be doing enough damage to make it worth it. Especially since a majority of the bosses need to be fought in a short amount of time, you have to kind of make your build perfect to even have a chance at succeeding. While in Monster Hunter you are given more than adequate time to take on a boss, even if your build is not perfect. And hell, I could take out 2 to 3 given the time for main objectives. There doesn't feel like there's enough punishment in the end. While on investigations that do limit your time significantly, I do think there is a necessity to having the right build, but these are completely optional and don't really need to do any of them for the completion of the story. Playing through World and even Rise, I didn't really care about what skills I had on as long as my defense and raw damage was improving. But on the bright side, if you are having trouble with a monster, you can simply just switch your armor out to give you something that's a little bit more tanky to give you that extra endurance throughout the hunt. Or you could just call up your friend on Discord that played this game 3 times as much as you have, and he could kill it for you. Potter. To wrap this up, I just want to retouch on the whole damage window thing. Most melee weapons are bound to doing a majority of their damage through combos. If you fail a combo, you are missing a majority of your damage. And when the monsters are moving around, trying to land a full combo gets really difficult. This leaves it up to you to do as much as you possibly can when the monster gets down, put to sleep, or paralyzed. And with some of these windows being incredibly short, you don't really have much time to set up, so if you're not exactly on top of the monster when it happens, you're going to miss out on your opportunity. Even if you are in the middle of a combo, you may have to dodge out of the way to avoid taking a large sum of damage. Not only do you now have to restart your combo, but you also have to make up for any lost distance because you may have rolled out of the way. And besides, you have to get close to the monster in the first place, and well, I don't need to tell you why that is a bad idea half of the time. The Bowguns, on the other hand, don't really have any combos to use, so you can dodge at will without sacrificing too much damage. Since you don't need to be on the monster's rear at all times, you can easily acquire your target again and then continue launching lead down range. And then when your special ammo is up, you get a huge burst of damage. As long as you aren't incompetent and miss it. I'm incompetent. So, is using a ranged weapon like playing easy mode in Monster Hunter? While the statement still may not be entirely true, it does have some weight behind it. I never intended to make anyone feel bad if you are using a ranged weapon, even though my friend might. In fact, I actually ended up using the light bowgun throughout the majority of my playthrough. After all, it's a game. Play how you want to. not how anyone else tells you. I had a fun time playing with the light bowgun, but for now I think I'm gonna go back to something I like to use a little bit more. Never mind, I'm going back to range. Fuck that!
You keep telling me that it's all okay, but I know, yeah, your silence speaks so loud.
Woo! Thank you so much for watching that entire thing. I'm surprised you even made it here. If you want to watch more, you're gonna have to stick around. Unfortunately, this is the first one, but I'm working on another, so stick around, subscribe, comment, share, and I will see you in the next one. Logging off now.